The billionaire Sheik laughed, but his heartwarming story in 6 languages revealed amazing truths. Amir stood behind the counter of his small convenience store in Springfield, watching the excitement ripple through the town. Just days ago, the rumor of a billionaire sheik visiting had ignited an eager buzz that filled the air with a peculiar sense of urgency. He could see townsfolk hustling about, repainting fences and sweeping sidewalks, desperate to impress the wealth that would soon pass through their small corner of the world. This is it, Amir thought, a mix of pride and dread swirling in his chest. As an immigrant chasing the American dream, a dream built on the promise of hard work, it stung to witness the community's admiration shift toward wealth rather than grit. Amir's store had been more than just a business, it was a hub of hope. He initiated food drives, organized holiday celebrations, and formed bonds that made Springfield a tapestry of shared experiences. He believed in the power of community, even in the face of whispers that questioned his worth. But today, he felt heavy, feeling the skepticism that mixed with excitement as the sheik's arrival approached. When the sheik arrived, he was enveloped in a cloak of luxurious fabrics, material so fine it shimmered under the crisp autumn sun. "Look at all these peasants." Khalid laughed, gesturing dismissively at the gathering townsfolk. A knot tightened in Amir's throat. The sheik's laughter echoed as he disregarded the hard work that had brought their lives together. "This is the American dream?" He mocked, as if friendship, effort, and unwavering belief meant nothing compared to gold and grandeur. The weight of Khalid's derision settled heavy in the air, stinging Amir's heart. He found himself retreating, the warmth of community turning cold as they turned their gazes toward the glimmering figure towering over them. But in that bitter moment, an unexpected storm rolled into Springfield, dark clouds swirling ominously above as the first raindrops fell. Suddenly, chaos erupted. As the storm raged, townsfolk scurried for shelter, dragging Amir and the sheik into the safety of a community center now transformed into a makeshift refuge. The power flickered and failed, plunging them into an oppressive darkness. Outside, the tempest roared while inside, Amir turned instinctively into the leader he had always aimed to be. He organized supplies, directing volunteers and pulling together warm blankets and a few cans of food. Khalid, initially aloof, watched in confusion as families grayed with fear started to emerge from the shadows. Something shifted within him as he began to witness the courage of the community. Their resilience in the face of adversity sparked a flicker of curiosity about what it meant to stand for others, rather than simply oneself. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As they worked side by side, Amir caught glimpses of vulnerability in Khalid's demeanor, a man who may have seen wealth but knew little of sacrifice. The tension morphed into a tentative alliance, as they folded blankets and handed out soup. Amir began to see Khalid not just as a wealthy presence, but as someone who could learn, someone who could change. Could this storm break down not just the barriers of the weather but also those hardened by judgment? In that dim room, as thunder cracked overhead, a critical moment surfaced. Amir, given the chance to act selflessly in a pivotal situation, had to make a choice that would redefine his role in this community. As he stood surrounded by those who relied on him, Amir realized this storm might just offer him the chance to show that strength isn't measured by wealth alone. What could he teach Khalid, and what could he learn in return? The answer wasn't clear, but the potential for transformation lay thick in the air, waiting for Amir to seize it. As the storm continued to rage, Amir rallied the townsfolk, urging them to share stories, memories, and laughter, even in the face of the howling winds outside. He found himself pulling Khalid into the heart of this makeshift community. "Tell us about your home," he prompted, hoping to bridge their worlds. Khalid hesitated, his expression shifting from indifference to intrigue. "What do you wish to know?" he asked, his voice barely audible over the din. The challenge hung in the air, and Amir saw an opportunity not just for Khalid to speak, but for a connection to form. "Tell us about your traditions," Amir said, "the things that make your culture beautiful." Khalid's brow furrowed, but he sensed the authenticity in Amir's request. Slowly, he began to share tales of lavish feasts, of times spent dancing with his family under starlit skies. The more he spoke, the more he transformed into someone who yearned to be heard, rather than someone who towered over others. The warmth of his stories pulled the townsfolk closer, illuminating their shared humanity amid the storm's chaos. As he listened, Amir felt a stirring of respect for the sheik. This was a man who had always lived under the weight of expectations, his laughter perhaps a shield against vulnerability. Was luxury really all Khalid understood, or was there a heart beneath the silk and gold? The thunder rumbled again, and Amir turned his thoughts inward. He was proud of how the townsfolk worked together, sharing laughter and reassurance like a balm against fear. In this moment of darkness, their humanity shone brighter than any wealth Khalid flaunted earlier. His heart swelled with hope as he regained focus. "We may not have riches like you, but we have each other," Amir called out, spurring enthusiasm among the crowd. "We have resilience." The word struck a chord, igniting a wave of encouragement. Khalid felt the atmosphere shift around him, rising above the storm outside. There was more to life than riches, there was strength in connection. Suddenly, a frail elderly woman approached Khalid, her hands trembling as she extended a bowl of soup to him. "We share," she said softly, her eyes locked with his. "Eat with us." Khalid hesitated, glancing at Amir for some kind of cue. For the first time, he felt uncertain, exposed. Amir watched closely. It was a humble gesture, yet it spoke volumes. Would Khalid accept? Would he take a step toward understanding what true strength meant? Khalid tentatively took the bowl, and a rare, genuine smile broke through his facade. "Thank you," he murmured, the weight of that single phrase palpable in the room. In that instance, a connection was forged, a bridge built from kindness, and Amir saw a flicker of change ignite in Khalid. The winds howled outside, but inside, a different kind of storm began to brew. Together, the townsfolk and the sheik lifted spirits, bravely confronting the elements, united by shared moments of vulnerability. Amir realized that this could be the beginning of something transformative. As laughter erupted once more, Amir turned to Khalid. "Imagine if you took this back to your world," he said. "What if you carried these stories of connection and hope with you?" Khalid's eyes glimmered with new light. "And what if you came with me?" Amir felt a rush of emotion. Could he really bridge these worlds? The question hung in the air, suspended by the gathering storm around them. He had a decision to make, one that could change not just himself, but the future of his community. Could he step beyond the bounds of Springfield and into the grandeur that Khalid represented? Would they both find change together? The storm was far from over, but amid the chaos, a new journey was about to unfold. What awaited them on the other side? As the storm intensified, the roar of the winds outside seemed to echo the turmoil inside Khalid's heart. His brief connection with the elderly woman changed something within him. He had always viewed the world through the lens of wealth and power, yet here was a community thriving on shared warmth and human connection. It felt foreign yet intoxicating. Amir leaned closer, excitement crackling in the air. "Khalid, imagine the power of what we just witnessed. Sharing meals, sharing stories. It's everything." His passion was infectious, drawing nods of agreement from the townsfolk surrounding them. Khalid took a beat, looking down at the steaming bowl that now rested in his hands. The soup's aroma filled his senses, but it was the gestures of kindness that replayed in his mind. "But what would they think of me in my world?" He pondered aloud. Would they understand? A young boy, seated cross-legged on the floor, looked up at Khalid with wide eyes. "We understand," he said simply. His innocence pierced through the noise of doubt, and for a moment, Khalid saw that perhaps understanding transcended language and wealth. Khalid took a sip of the soup, and as the warmth spread through him, he felt something else, a flicker of courage. "What if I told you," he began, hesitating slightly, that sharing stories could lead to change, not just in your lives, but in mine, too. Amir's gaze locked onto Khalid's, a spark igniting between them. Then tell us, he urged. Show us how. And there it was, a stirring itch for Khalid to step fully into this new world he had only peeked at. With every tale of lavish banquets shared earlier, he had felt burdened by the past. Now, he was ready to shift the narrative. Back home, we measure time by feasts, he started, his voice growing steadier. Each gathering signifies more than just food, it's about connection. With my father's wealth came great loneliness. I thought riches would bring joy. But happiness, it seems, was always within reach, held by your hands. The crowd began to listen, their eyes glued to Khalid, as each word filled the gaps in his heart. The howls of the storm faded, their breaths synchronized in anticipation. We can bridge across oceans, he continued. Imagine hosting gatherings infused with your traditions alongside ours. Think about the understanding we could cultivate. The murmurs of encouragement rippled through the crowd. Yes, someone shouted. We could create stories together. Others chimed in, excitement mixing with disbelief. The laughter that once filled the room began to transform, morphing into a powerful hope. Amir felt drenched in possibility. He could see it, a cultural tapestry woven from their experiences together. But Khalid shifted noticeably, glancing at the door, then back to Amir. But I can't return empty-handed or without plans. My people, they expect more from their sheik. We aren't just simple folk, Amir countered softly. We have value, Khalid, beyond what is tangible. What if you presented this to your people? Show them that wealth is richer when shared. Khalid's mind raced. Acceptance, vulnerability, something inside flickered brighter. The storm outside was their backdrop, yet it was the intangible connections and shared laughter that truly surged within, drowning out the chaos. Do we dare? Khalid asked, eyes locked with Amir's. A moment passed, heavy with potential, as if the very air crackled with fate. Why not? Amir replied, his voice resolute. Together, we could do so much. As the last echoes of thunder rolled away, a sense of determination enveloped them both. They were at the brink of something monumental, but would they find the courage to fully commit to this shared journey? The path ahead was uncharted, layered with both promise and uncertainty. Taking a deep breath, Khalid looked out at the assembled townsfolk, his heart swelling with emotion. Then let us begin, together. But just then, a loud crash reverberated through the room, sending everyone into a startled silence. What had just happened? And would their plans for a new beginning be derailed before even taking flight? The sound of splintering wood echoed off the walls, freezing the room in a tense hush. Khalid's heart raced. He could feel the warmth of the soup still lingering in his hands, but now it felt trivial against this moment of shock. Eyes darted toward the door, which had been flung open, revealing a figure silhouetted by the storm. The unexpected intruder stepped forward, cloaked in dark shadows. Rain dripped from his hair, and the wild wind was nearly a part of him, swirling and knocking against the room like a new breath of life. The flicker of lantern light revealed a face Khalid recognized, a messenger from his homeland, his expression fraught with urgency. What are you doing here? Khalid asked, stepping forward, the soup forgotten. The man took a breath, his chest heaving. I bring news. Your father, he needs you back home. There's trouble. A rival family, they threaten our holdings. Khalid's heart sank. The weight of responsibility crashed upon him, threatening to crush the fragile courage he had begun to cultivate. Without thinking, he glanced back to Amir and the townsfolk. They watched in stunned silence, their trusting expressions now tinged with concern. We were about to create something beautiful. Khalid's voice trembled. Something that could change lives. You can't take me away from this. I don't want to. The messenger cried back. But yes, your family. Your legacy is at stake. You must return. The sound of rain pounding against the roof filled the space, competing with the heavy thrum inside Khalid's chest. The laughter, the warmth, the stories, they all felt so close, yet so far. This wasn't just a moment of defiance, it was a crossroads. Amir stepped closer, concern etched across his face. "Khalid, what will you do?" Khalid shifted his gaze from his anxious new friends to the messenger. It was true, he was part of a legacy built on power and affluence. But was it truly what he wanted? In the past few hours, here in the storm-battered home of the town, he had tasted something richer than gold connection. "Time," he whispered, though it echoed loudly. "I need time to decide." The messenger's eyes softened, caught off guard by Khalid's vulnerability. "You have until dawn, but then you must come. If not, your father will act without your support. It could be catastrophic." Khalid turned back to the room, to the faces that had opened up so generously to him. "I could lose everything," he admitted, his voice cracking. A shiver coursed down his spine, not from the cold breeze but from the weight pressing down on his heart, and Amir stepped forward with quiet strength. "Or you could gain everything. You don't have to follow in your father's footsteps. You can forge your path." The townsfolk nodded, their expressions encouraging. "You have the power to choose, Khalid," one woman said quietly, her voice cutting through the thick uncertainty. Khalid swallowed hard. He felt the pull of both worlds, the familiar and the unknown. A storm surged within him, but it was made of passion and hope rather than fear. "Listen, I want to forge a new path. One that bridges our worlds," Khalid declared, the words spilling out as if a dam had broken. "But I need your help to show my people that wealth is not measured in gold but in shared experiences, in laughter, and in community." Silence blanketed the room for a heartbeat, and then Amir spoke up, his voice steady. "Then we'll show them. Together." As the agreement hung in the air like the last echoes of the storm, Khalid turned to the messenger. "Tell my father I am staying for now. We have much work to do." But as he made that choice, a gust of wind burst through the open door, scattering papers and stirring shadows, as if the storm itself disapproved. What new challenges awaited him, and would he be strong enough to face the forces both at home and here? Khalid took a deep breath and turned back to his new friends. "Let us craft our story, then. Together." Yet, in the back of his mind, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of an even greater conflict looming ahead. How would he navigate both storms? Khalid felt the weight of his decision lingering in the air, like a heavy fog after the storm. The flickering candles cast a warm glow on his friends' faces, illuminating their hope and expectation. Yet, beneath that hope, a flicker of doubt nibbled at the edges of his conviction. His father's voice echoed in his mind, filled with disappointment and authority. The future of his family loomed like a shadow over the promise of a new beginning. "Tomorrow," he breathed, almost as if to reassure himself. "Tomorrow I'll have to face them." Amir clasped Khalid's shoulder, grounding him with his steady presence. "For tonight, we foster what we've started. Let us bring your vision to life." Together, they huddled around a makeshift table, scattered with the remnants of their earlier meal. Someone pushed aside the empty bowls, making room for their plans. Ideas flowed like the rushing river outside, vibrant and alive. They brainstormed, laughter intertwining with fervor, each suggestion building upon the last. "We should have a festival." A voice cried out from the back. "A celebration of unity. Invite everyone, from everywhere." Khalid's heart fluttered. A gathering, a way to intertwine their lives, to showcase the beauty of their differences. Yes. That could be the bridge. Amir grinned. "We can share stories and food. The town will come alive." As the excitement built, Khalid felt a lightness he hadn't sensed in days. It was more than a simple plan, it was a promise that there was another way to live. They envisioned vibrant stalls lined with crafts, laughter echoing as neighbors started to mingle, and tales of old weaving new bonds. Yet, as they spoke of this enchanting future, a shadow crept across the walls, the lanterns flickering. Khalid could almost feel the weight of his father's expectations, a chain binding him to a past he wasn't sure he could honor. Anxiety tightened its grip on his heart. Will they accept me back? He wondered aloud, his voice barely above a whisper. Will they understand what I've learned here? You'll have to show them, Amir replied, unwavering. You're not just bringing a festival, you're bringing a new perspective. Build them a bridge with your passion. The townsfolk nodded, eyes twinkling with unwavering belief. Khalid felt the warmth of their encouragement pushing against the chill of uncertainty within. He thought again about his home, the opulent walls that had once felt warm and inviting but now seemed suffocating. Could he really unite these two worlds? Suddenly, a loud crash from outside broke through the fabric of his thoughts. They all jumped, startled. Khalid rushed to the window, peering into the obscured dark where lightning flashed, illuminating terrified faces in the storm. Khalid! Look! Amir shouted, pointing down the street. To Khalid's horror, he saw a group of hooded figures, emerging from the shadows like spirits conjured by the storm. They were moving toward the festival site, their intentions unclear, but their menacing presence sent a shiver down his spine. What do they want? Khalid's heart raced, pulse hammering in his ears. The messenger moved closer, anxiety etched across his features. Could they be from the rival family? They must have gotten wind of your plans. Khalid gripped the windowsill, his mind racing. This was not the confrontation he had expected. He wanted to bring joy, not conflict. Yet, as he turned and faced Amir, determination surged within him. Whatever it is, we cannot let fear dictate our future. Khalid vowed, his voice steady and resolute. We stick to our plan, no matter what they bring. Together, they stepped back from the window and formed a circle. This new storm, this conflict was a part of their story now, but so was the strength of community. Let us prepare, Amir said, determination making his eyes shine. We'll be ready for them. And as they hurried to gather supplies and organize their defenses, Khalid's heart thudded with a fierce hope. Perhaps this would be the challenge that ignited the spark of change he dreamt about. The night was dark, but beneath the stormy skies, a light kindled within him. He couldn't shake the feeling something was coming and he would need every ounce of courage he had. Would they stand together, or would this tide of darkness sweep away the dreams they were building? Khalid and his friends moved quickly, adrenaline pumping through their veins. The urgency of the situation brought a new clarity. They had work to do. Every hand was needed, every voice mattered. They gathered supplies from the makeshift store, hearts pounding as they whispered strategies. Let us stand our ground, Amir said, his voice filled with conviction. We'll show them we're not afraid. Khalid nodded, buoyed by Amir's unwavering spirit. Each moment of connection among his friends felt like kindling for the fire of courage building inside him. They pieced together makeshift barriers and organized items for the festival, colorful bunting, tools for crafts, anything that could emphasize unity over division. Lightning ripped across the sky again, illuminating the faces of those gathered outside. A wave of fear washed over Khalid as he peered through the window. The figures were closer now, their hoods casting shadows that seemed to reach for him. He felt the old fears creep back in. What if they meant harm? Stay vigilant, but also hopeful, he reminded himself. As Khalid stepped back from the glass, Amir caught his eye, empathy swirling in their shared glance. Whatever comes, we're in this together. For you. Facing the group, Khalid took a deep breath, steadying himself. This festival is not just for us. It's for everyone who believes in hope. It's a chance to show that we can coexist despite our backgrounds. A hush fell among them, his words echoing in the stillness. Flickers of determination sparked in their eyes as they nodded in agreement. Amidst their preparations, a sudden knock at the door interrupted their focus. Khalid's heart jumped, panic threading through his thoughts. The messenger from earlier had rushed in, eyes wide with urgency. They're demanding to speak with you, Khalid. He exclaimed. They say if you want your festival to proceed, you must come out and face them. The room went quiet. A suffocating tension hung in the air. Khalid's hand clenched into a fist. It felt like a challenge. His father's shadow loomed large, but so did the warmth of his friends. What do we do? One of the townsfolk said, anxiety flickering in her voice. Will it provoke them further? Khalid felt the weight of commitment crash over him. He could either cower, surrender to the fears that threatened to erupt, or he could show them the strength cultivated in community. After a heartbeat's pause, he made his decision. I will go, he asserted, quiet power in his voice. We need to show them that we are united. But I want to go alone. I want all of you with me. Under the flickering lanterns, the determination shifted from doubt to action. Together, they formed a line, shoulder to shoulder, hearts beating as one. They stepped outside, the storm swirling around them, the presence of the hooded figures sharp against the darkened sky. Khalid's pulse thrummed in his ears as he locked eyes on the lead figure. The air crackled with tension, but so did the courage radiating from his friends beside him. What do you want? Khalid called out, voice steady despite the storm's fury. The figure stepped closer, revealing a face Khalid recognized. It was Anwar, the rival family's son, a childhood acquaintance turned adversary. You think you can change what we are? You think the past is forgotten? Khalid straightened, feeling his heart swell with the weight of his mission. No, Anwar, we don't forget. We learn. I'm here to show that we can be more than these divisions. Will you stand against us, or join us? The night held its breath, the storm caught in the tension between past grievances and a flicker of possibility. Khalid watched Anwar's face. A wave of uncertainty flashed across his features. In that charged moment, everything hung in balance, old grudges, new beginnings, and the power of collective dreams. What choice would Anwar make? Would Khalid's bold vision draw them together or push them further apart? Anwar paused, his eyes flickering between the faces of Khalid's friends, the determined crew standing firm beside him. Doubt danced in his expression, fading the hardness that once defined him. You don't understand, he finally replied, voice strained. You think standing out here changes anything? They won't accept you. They won't accept us. But what if we try? Khalid pressed, his heart racing. We don't have to hide or run anymore. We've got a chance to unite our communities, to show that our differences are strengths, not weaknesses. Thunder rumbled in the distance, reflecting the tumult whipped up in the hearts of everyone standing there. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying the scent of rain, urgency hanging thick in the air. Amir stepped forward. Anwar, we all know the past is there. We can't let it bind us. It's time for something new. His voice was clear, steady, carrying the weight of their shared histories. From the shadows, one of Anwar's friends shifted uneasily, glancing back at the group. You think this festival really matters? You think they care about your ideas when all they see are our last names? Khalid's stomach nodded. The words struck him like daggers. It matters more than you know. Change starts small. If we can celebrate together, maybe we can heal. We've all suffered, Anwar. We can no longer be held hostage by old grudges. As Khalid spoke, he noticed the crowd behind him. Families huddled together, faces lined with concern, voices hushed. They felt the same fear, yet here they were, standing strong. Khalid fought to keep his own fears from surfacing. Anwar stood frozen, caught between two worlds. Khalid's friends murmured among themselves, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. Would he see the possibility Khalid saw? Join us, Khalid pleaded, stepping closer. Help us create a place where our children won't have to deal with this hate. Help us bring the festival to life. We deserve this, all of us. Anwar bit his lip, his head bowed as a flash of lightning illuminated his face, revealing vulnerability. It's not that simple, he began, but Khalid pressed on, desperation bleeding into determination. Life isn't simple. But it is beautiful. It's messy and bright. And it's worth fighting for. Khalid gestured to the vibrant festival supplies pooled at their feet. This festival is about us, about creating something joyful that unites rather than divides. The silence was deep, broken only by the storm swirling around them. Khalid could feel the weight of every pair of eyes, every heart beating as one in that moment. Hope flickered like a candle in the rain, fragile but alive. Then, Anwar looked back up, the shadows of doubt fading slightly. Can you promise me this won't be just for show? Can you promise this isn't just another event that dies out in a few days? Yes. Khalid responded, fire igniting in his chest. This is our commitment. To bridge the gaps, to build something real. Anwar took a deep breath, glancing behind him at his friends, at the community that had shaped him. If you're serious, then I'm in. The thunder rolled again, but this time it felt different. The storm's fury echoed both fear and exhilaration. Khalid's heart soared. Anwar's nod was a small light in the chaos, a flicker of hope igniting a flame. Around them, the remnants of tension began to fade, replaced by anxious smiles. Friends exchanged glances. Could this be the new beginning they all so desperately needed? But as cheers erupted, a new figure emerged from the shadows, a glower on her face. It was the town's long-silent leader, and her intentions were anything but clear. What is going on here? She demanded, crossing her arms as the crowd fell silent once again, every heartbeat echoed with uncertainty. Would this unity hold, or would it unravel before they could even start? The silence stretched, thick with tension. Khalid could feel the weight of her eyes on him, as if they alone could dissolve the hope. He swallowed hard, taking a step forward, heart thumping wildly in his chest. Mayor Amina, he addressed her, voice trembling slightly, we're trying to make a change. A real change. Her brow knitted as she shifted her weight, the audience bracing for her response. Change? Is this what you call it? She scoffed, her tone sharp, cutting through the stillness. Gathering here, under these conditions? You really believe this festival will fix what's broken in our town? Khalid's heart sank. She was right, in a way. One festival couldn't erase their history. But it wasn't just about that. This festival is symbolic, Khalid pressed on, urgency building within him. It's not just about fun. It's about healing. We want our communities to come together, to acknowledge our pain and grow from it. We're tired of being divided. Amina's expression softened momentarily, though just a flicker. And what makes you think it'll work? What guarantees do we have? Khalid searched her face, looking for any sign of understanding. Because we're willing to try, he replied, voice steadier now. Because we want to show everyone that we can celebrate our differences. No more hiding. No more running. Will you stand in the faces of those who shout at you, threaten you? She challenged, eyes narrowing. Or will you back down when it gets tough? A murmur rippled through the crowd. Khalid felt it, a collective pulse, a shared heartbeat of brave vulnerability. Maybe that's part of the journey, Amir interjected, stepping beside Khalid. We can't back down now. This festival is for us all, your people, our people. If we don't take the first step, how will things ever change? Amina crossed her arms tighter, lips pinched into a hard line. It was as if she weighed the possibility against the heavy memories of what had come before. Just then, Anwar chimed in, Mayor, many of us have lived in the shadows. We fear we'll always remain outside the circle. But Khalid and his friends, they're offering us a chance, a real chance. The air was electric with anticipation. Could they convince her? Your idealism is admirable, but naive, she finally said, shaking her head slightly. You think the wounds will heal because of some flashy event? You can't just ignore the urgency of reality. It starts with us believing we can make those changes, Khalid said, heart pounding in his ears. Together. If we don't start here, in this moment, then when? This isn't about one event, it's about opening doors. Amina's stance began to soften, and for a fleeting moment, hope glimmered like a fragile thread between them. But then, abruptly, she turned away, signaling with her hand for silence. "If you really want change, prove it," she replied, voice firm but less hostile than before. "Bring me something I can work with. Something concrete." Khalid's heart raced. This was it. A real chance. But the doubts swirled around him like approaching storm clouds. "All right," he said, resolve blooming. "We will prove it to you." As Amina walked away, the crowd buzzed with a mix of anxiety and excitement. The desire to push forward thrummed beneath their skin. Would they really be able to turn this moment into a movement? But as they contemplated their next steps, the storm outside thundered once more, a reminder of the work that lay ahead. Could they gather enough support and create a festival that transcended their differences? Khalid looked around, at the faces lit with determination and hope, and knew they had to try. And then he realized the shadows hadn't fully receded. Not yet. They needed to confront more than just apathy, they had to face the past together. "What hurdles are we actually up against?" Amir asked, cutting through the tension. Khalid's heart dropped as the gravity of the question landed. They were ready, but would they be prepared for what was to come? It felt like standing at the edge of a precipice, unsure whether to leap or retreat. Khalid felt the weight of Amir's question settling over him like a heavy blanket. He took a deep breath, glancing around at the sea of faces. Each one held its own fears and hopes. Each one mattered. "All right," he said, rallying himself. "First things first, we need a plan. A real plan." He turned to Amir and Anwar, who were both nodding, their expressions serious. "Let us gather everyone who cares about this festival," Amir suggested. "We can brainstorm ideas together. Each of us has connections. We need to use them. If we're going to get Amina on our side, we can't just talk about healing. We need actionable steps," Anwar added, his eyes bright with determination. "What kind of activities will we organize? How do we reach both communities?" As they debated the next steps, Khalid felt his phone buzz in his pocket. He pulled it out and saw a flurry of messages from his friends. One stood out, "I believe in you, Khalid. Let us make this change happen." It filled him with a spark of joy, more significant than he expected. "Okay, here's the first hurdle," he began, voice steady now. "We need to involve local businesses. They can help sponsor the event. If we can get them to believe in the festival's purpose, it'll bring more people on board." "Right," Amir agreed. "But some might be indifferent. We need to show them how this helps their bottom line, too." "Let us talk to the mosque and the community center," Anwar suggested. "We can tap into their networks." The trio began to bounce ideas off each other, crafting a made-up blueprint in the air, each point building upon the last. Khalid felt the nervousness begin to slip away, replaced by a bubbling excitement. They could actually do this. Before long, others began to gather around them, curious to hear what they were planning. Khalid welcomed their interest, inviting them into the conversation, sharing the vision. It felt good to have so many people backing their cause, but amid this surge of optimism, Khalid couldn't shake the lingering doubts. Mayor Amina was just one piece of the puzzle. What about those who opposed them? What about the anger that still simmered beneath the surface? "Do you think the older generation will support this?" one of the onlookers asked. "The ones who remember the past too well?" That question hung heavily in the air. "Some may resist," Khalid said thoughtfully, feeling the gravity of it. "But we also have our youth who want a better future. It's about bridging that gap. We have to honor our past while moving forward." The reality of what they were attempting began to settle in. Could they really bring everyone together? The thought was daunting, like facing an impending storm, but Khalid felt a flicker of hope. "Let us create a timeline," he urged. "We need to set deadlines and keep each other accountable." They worked tirelessly, each idea sparking another, until a moment of clarity struck Khalid. What if we invite Amina to the next planning meeting? Give her a seat at the table? No pressure, just a chance to see our progress. The idea gained momentum, igniting the group before them. Khalid could sense an undercurrent of excitement weaving through the crowd. For the first time that day, he felt that maybe, just maybe, this festival could truly materialize into something greater, but even as the surge of hope blossomed, the echoes of doubt whispered in his ear. What if they failed? What if they couldn't bridge those gaps? Khalid shook the thoughts away, focusing on the faces around him, filled with eagerness and resolve. Let us meet tomorrow, and set into motion something we'll all be proud of, Khalid said, enthusiasm pouring out now. Together we can make history. With that, he caught sight of something in the distance, an approaching figure, silhouetted against the darkening sky. A familiar figure. Khalid. Amir called, pulling him back to the moment. Who is that? Khalid squinted into the fading light, his heart racing once more. The person was striding towards them with purpose, determination etched into their features. And as they drew closer, Khalid's heart sank. Could this be what he had feared most? Would this individual bring chaos to their fragile plans? The only thing he knew for certain was that they weren't alone in this fight anymore, and the real challenge was about to begin. The sun broke through the clouds, casting a golden glow over Springfield, a town on the brink of transformation. Khalid stood with Amir and Anwar, their breath steadying beneath the weight of their plans. They had forged through chaos, but now the vision for the festival loomed larger, pulsating with the promise of unity. The meeting that followed brought together townsfolk in a way Khalid had only dreamt of. They gathered at the community center and filled the room with a blend of excitement and anxious energy. Each face illuminated the potential that lay within their shared experience. Khalid could feel the pulse of hope vibrating through them as they brainstormed and formed bonds. The vision took shape through late-night discussions, with voices chiming in with stories and ideas. Imagine a day filled with food stalls from every culture, one voice piped up, lighting a spark in the room. Games for kids and a talent show that celebrates all our differences. Another declared, we could have art displays featuring local artists from both sides. Khalid's heart swelled. They were not just ideas, they were safety nets woven from laughter, from togetherness. Then came the initial obstacle, getting local businesses involved. That evening, armed with a printed flyer showcasing the festival's concept, Khalid, Amir, and Anwar approached the businesses that dotted Springfield's South Main Street. With every door they knocked, each conversation spilled hope but also nerves. Khalid sensed doubt from some, while others embraced the idea with open arms. A local cafe owner, Mabel, leaned on the counter, her brow furrowing as she considered their proposal. I appreciate what you're trying to do, Khalid, but what if the older folks don't want this? Khalid took a breath, recalling those faces, the elders who harbored time-worn grudges. We're not pretending the past didn't happen, he said, passion rising in his voice. We're building something new, inviting them to see what sharing can mean. Count me in. Mabel exclaimed, her face lighting up. If it fosters understanding, I'll host a dessert table. Bridging the old and the new became their mantra as they continued fostering connections. They invited Amina to a planning night. At first, she hesitated. But when she entered the room, the smiles weren't forced, they were genuine, and the excitement was infectious. You can take my seat at the table, she said, taking a place alongside Anwar and Khalid. Each new decision felt monumental, and the air buzzed with a palpable energy. They mapped out the festival's trajectory, each idea building on another like dominoes waiting to topple into existence. Then, just as the community began to rally, a broader storm rolled into town. Not from the sky, but from Khalid's family. A message arrived from his father demanding his return. It bore the weight of legacy and familial bonds. This was the moment that had hung heavy in the air before, but the festival, this vision of shared laughter and joy, beckoned him to stay. He stood at a crossroads, the past relegated to shadows while his heart anchored him to Springfield. Dad, times have changed, he murmured, resolve hardening. This isn't just about wealth, it's about healing. The echo of dissent lingered, but his voice emerged stronger. I can bridge worlds, but I need to know you'll trust me. It was truth intertwined with vulnerability. Days bled into nights leading to the festival, the town slowly transformed by hope. The festival day dawned bright. Khalid stood overlooking the shared place they had created. Mixed scents wafted through the air, spiced delicacies, fresh lemonade, familiar laughter mingling, colors vibrant, townsfolk of every background walked suspended in the joy of the moment. It was beautiful chaos, dancers twirled, laughter erupted, and stories unfurled. Khalid's heart danced too, carried by the warmth of connection. As evening settled in, Khalid took the stage, standing before a gathering of hopeful eyes. This festival isn't just the culmination of our hard work, it's a step into possibility, he declared. Look at this, look at us. United, becoming more than our past. Thunderous applause resonated through the air, a sound of celebration and acceptance. In that moment, a voice called out from the crowd. Anwar stepped forward, his face shining. And let this be the beginning. Tomorrow we keep building together. Everyone cheered, a ripple of testament soaring, the festival a catalyst of courage, defiance, and unity over division. Khalid locked eyes with Amir. There, in the frail sunlight behind them, they felt the lingering embrace of connection blossom. Together, they could redefine not just their town but the very nature of response against adversity. The evening's celebrations flowed seamlessly into the night, laughter twinkled under the stars, but there was still uncertainty ahead. It was not a finish line, but a launch pad. There would still be conversations to engage in, fears to confront. Together, united under colorful banners and warm glow, they had kindled a journey far beyond a single festival. Today forged change. Tomorrow, they would keep moving forward. As they joined in an impromptu dance, Khalid felt lightness, clarity, excitement, a new chapter, ready to unfold, and as the night wrapped around Springfield, the echo of laughter resonated, a reminder that sometimes storms bring the most beautiful transformations. The future sparkled with promise, and the bonds of community stretched far beyond the horizon. Now, more than ever, Khalid knew it was his moment to shine. As the music swelled, a simple message rang loud within: this was just the beginning. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, we need your support. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this transformative journey. This is the moment to stand strong with us. Don't wait not even one more second to share.